Hello, and welcome to Stamped by Stone. I'm Tracy Stone, and I'm an independent, close to my heart representative. I'm located in Canada. Today I'm going to be featuring the So Many Smiles stamp and what different cards I've made from it. Here's an example. I'm using white daisy cardstock and willow cardstock. I like to cut my paper and get the most out of it, so I managed to make out of a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock 4 different cards. I cut them to 6 by 6 and then I fold them in half so that they are 6 by 3. I'm going to be using primarily the stamp set So Many Smiles, which is number C1619 on Close to My Heart. Here's my other supply list, which I will feature at the end of this video. All of the products that I feature here are from this particular Close to My Heart catalog, which runs from August 2016 to July 2017. In addition to using willow and white daisy cardstock, I'm using Adventure Fundamentals, which you can find in the catalog. The number is Z3253. As I said earlier, my card dimension is 6 by 6. I then folded it over to become 6 by 3. My first layer of the Adventures Fundamentals is 5 3/4 by 2 3/4. My stamping layer is 5 1/2 by 2 1/2. Here I am using the raspberry pigment ink and the So Many Smiles, one of the stamps from that set. I'm choosing to stamp with pigment ink so that I can use embossing powder to make it really pop at the end. Unfortunately, the first time I did this stamp here, it was not dark enough and I ended up turning over the cards and stamping again. That's not a problem because you can always do that. There's 2 sides to every paper and it doesn't show through. The cardstock is excellent quality. You see that I'm stamping more than I need here. With making 4 cards, I find it useful to stamp a bunch of things if I'm doing it, and then I'm able to assemble cards quickly. With this 6 by 3 size, it's very fortunate that I'm able to use envelopes that are 3 5/8 by 6 1/2, which are standard number 8 envelopes that you can find in various stores. I'm continuing to stamp in the raspberry color randomly around the page. Notice that I go off the page as well. It's not just there in the circle, and that adds some detail that's interesting. I've changed to the tangerine pigment-based ink out of the Adventure palette. It's not quite a yellow, not quite an orange. It's quite a lovely color and easy to work with. It really brightens up any of the projects that you're working on. I like using that cardstock in the background as it really makes things pop and gives you that sunny feeling that hopefully spring is around the corner. Again, I'm randomly stamping here. It's important to put enough ink on your stamp, especially in this case where I'm doing multiple colors at the same time, and then I'm planning on using embossing powder. So I need to make sure that there is enough ink on there so that when it's time to put the embossing powder on it, it will stick. I've switched to the willow color. It's a green, bright green color, and I've got the leaf from the So Many Smiles stamp set, and again I'm going to randomly stamp there. You will see me using various block sizes from Close to My Heart. Because they are acrylic stamps, you can see through these clear blocks. It makes for easy placement. I've been using a 2 by 2, I will use a 1 by 1, and I've been using a 1 by 3 1/2. These are super easy to keep in your hand when you're stamping, and you can easily position them as you're holding them over top of your work because they are see-through. All of these, of course, are available in the Close to My Heart catalog or on my website at www.tracystone.closetomyheart.ca. I switched to the Pacifica pigment ink. It's the deep blue, which is fantastic, makes me think of the ocean. I have just set my stamps aside. You won't see me clean the stamps in this video, but when I do, I will be using the My Acrylics Spritz Cleaner, number 1778, and the Close to My Heart Scrubber. Here I'm using embossing powder, making certain to cover all of the areas where I have stamped. My container seems to be quite small for this project, as I've made a larger stamp area here. I think I'll be switching that soon. But once I've covered all of the areas, I tap all the excess off so that I can reuse it. And I will be using the Close to My Heart craft heater. Mine is an older style one, as I've been a Close to My Heart customer for many years, but only recently become a consultant. So the new craft heater looks a little bit different, but the number in the catalog is Z555. I'm only going to show you a bit of using my craft heater. You will see that you just go over it very, very gently, being careful not to burn yourself, making sure you're applying an even layer of heat to all of the stamped areas. You'll see it change. It's easy to see that. And then I will cut to the end where I'm putting things together. Okay, now that my embossing powder is dry from using the craft heater, I'm going to assemble my card. Again, my first layer, which is the B&T background and texture, is 5 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then on top of that I'm adding my stamped layer, which is 5 1/2 by 2 1/2. I'm looking at my choices for stamps for the sentiment. I'm using the just black ink from Close to My Heart. Mine is one of the older types of ink, not the nice new magnetic one. I've chosen Celebrate. It comes from the Treat Yourself Petite Perks W2036 as the stamp. I'm going to assemble some of the cards that I've made with this stamp set. I'm also going to remove the newsprint that I have underneath that I've been stamping on. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video, again stamped by Stone. You can visit my Close to My Heart website at www.tracystone.closetomyheart.ca.